I've been a Cleveland Browns supporter my entire life. I'm 68 years old now, but I can still remember sitting cross-legged on the floor with my father in 1964, watching the Browns beat the Baltimore Colts. I was just 7 years old. I watched Jim Brown rise up, always the last man into the huddle. I saw it all. And since that glorious day in 1964, I've watched this team fail to capture a single championship. And now you want to ask me about quarterbacks? Sure, Joe Flacco might play a few games, but let's be real. His aging body isn't built to withstand the punishment anymore. You can't be 40 years old and outrun defenders forever. He's going to get hurt. Then we'll be forced to turn to some unproven rookie nobody outside of draft night had even heard of. Why he lasted so long in the draft is still a mystery, but fine. The organization made their choice and everyone knows it. No sense in beating that dead horse. Now, I'll admit, when I saw Shedeur play, that game was impressive. But the second time they threw him out there, it was behind 4 or 5 linemen who had no business on the field. Guys who had never played organized ball, no PAL, no league experience at all. He got buried, sacked countless times, piling up yardage losses that weren't even his fault. Later, we find out not one of those linemen is even playing football today. They never should have been on the field in the first place. And now we're supposed to watch this kid Gabriel get tossed to the Wolves because that's what happens once the real Wolves arrive. Pittsburgh, Baltimore, they're coming. And when they do, panic sets in for quarterbacks who aren't ready. That's why I'm praying to God Shedeur gets his shot to show what he can truly do. That's what's best for him. But knowing the Browns, they'll probably make the boneheaded move and trade him. From what I've heard, it wasn't just the Ravens in the mix. It was 3 teams, the Browns, the Eagles, and Baltimore. And honestly, why wouldn't Shedeur want Baltimore? If there's any franchise that's mastered drafting and developing elite talent, it's them. They've proven they know the recipe. The Eagles, same thing. Jalen Hurts has been nothing short of a model leader and competitor. Both organizations scream development and preparation. So why Cleveland? Because in Baltimore or Philly, Shedeur would have had to sit and wait, hoping Lamar or Hurts got injured, and he respects those men too much for that. All money isn't good money, and not every opportunity is the right one. In Cleveland, he sees a real shot at playing time. He isn't wired to be a career backup. He doesn't have that DNA. Shedeur wants to start. He wants to be the star, and with the Browns' history, let's face it, when they start losing, they'll cycle through quarterbacks like bags of chips. Flacco won't hold up. Gabriel will get his shot, and if he doesn't win quick, the door swings wide open for Shedeur. But here's the thing, fit and system matter more for a quarterback than any other position in sports. Throw a quarterback out there before he's ready, and you can wreck his confidence, derail his development, maybe ruin his career entirely. That's what worries me. I wish he'd landed somewhere better, somewhere built to nurture him. Because in Cleveland, it's survival of the fittest, and history hasn't been kind. Sure, there are rare backup to starter success stories. Tony Romo comes to mind. But they're exceptions, not the rule. In Baltimore, that wouldn't be his path. In Cleveland, he has a legitimate shot to start. And while it may not be the perfect scenario, it's the one that gives Shedeur the chance to be what he was born to be, QB1.
You need insurance. If I can't start and be the centerpiece, then I'll still be fine. I'm already wealthy. Cleveland, Ohio. A city that has lived through heartbreak, endured collapse, and spent decades pleading for stability at quarterback. From the echoes of Bernie Kosar to the endless parade of failed experiments, the Browns have always been shackled by the same haunting question. Who is our true leader under center? Now, in 2025, after just 2 punishing weeks of football, that question has erupted once more, transforming into the most divisive, most controversial, and most explosive storyline in the entire NFL. Because after a humiliating 41-17 demolition at the hands of the Baltimore Ravens, the whispers in Cleveland turned into thunderous roars, Fans don't want Joe Flacco anymore. They want Shedeur Sanders. Let's start with the obvious. Joe Flacco's return to Cleveland was supposed to bring steadiness, a veteran's presence, a Super Bowl champion's hand, to guide a chaotic offense still trying to find its rhythm. But against Baltimore, Flacco looked like a man imprisoned by the past. A fumble returned for 6, an interception that buried the Browns early, turnovers piling up like a nightmare on repeat. By the end of the third quarter, Cleveland fans weren't clapping. They were booing. The numbers don't lie. 2 games, 2 losses, 3 interceptions, 4 turnovers, and the same blank, lifeless expression the city has seen from a dozen failed quarterbacks before. Even head coach Kevin Stefanski faced direct questions post-game about making a change. His response? A flat, uninspiring no. He deflected, blaming the offense, the execution, the staff, everyone but Flacco. But let's be honest. Cleveland fans weren't buying it. They saw a 40-year-old quarterback running on fumes, and they saw 2 rookies standing on the sideline. One of those rookies carries a name with the weight of a dynasty, Shedeur Sanders. Here's the twist. Shedeur isn't even Cleveland's official second option right now. That title belongs to Dillon Gabriel, drafted 2 rounds earlier. Gabriel even saw his first taste of action against Baltimore, tossing a garbage-time touchdown that set social media ablaze. But despite the depth chart, fans can't stop chanting for Shedeur. Why? Because Sanders isn't just any rookie. He's the son of Deion Primetime Sanders, one of the most electrifying athletes in American history. He's the Colorado phenomenon, the quarterback who flipped college football upside down with swagger, poise, and an arm that demands respect. When fans see him on the sideline, helmet on, eyes locked in, they don't see a rookie. They see inevitability. They hear his words about patience and self-control, but deep down, everyone wonders the same thing. When does Shedeur finally take the field? Cleveland Talk Radio has already given its answer. ESPN's local affiliate flat out declared, "It's inevitable Shedeur starts this season." Not maybe, not possibly, inevitable. One host even joked, "Hell, Shedeur might be out there by the time we land in London." That game, October 5th against the Vikings, looms like a countdown clock. Think about it. Just 3 weeks away, the city already believes the Flacco experiment will end and the Shedeur Sanders era will begin. On social media, the pressure is even louder. Clips of Flacco's blunders against Baltimore have been stitched alongside Sanders' highlight reels from Colorado. The message could not be clearer. Get this man off the field and let primetime sun shine. For a city that's waited generations for quarterback salvation, Shedeur symbolizes hope, energy, and the future. But here's the dilemma. Kevin Stefanski isn't on the same timeline as the fans. He knows his job security is fragile. He knows tossing Shedeur into the fire too soon could backfire catastrophically. So instead, he leans on Gabriel, the safer rookie, the higher draft pick, the one with a touchdown already in the books. And this is where Cleveland fractures. Half the fan base says, "Fine, give Gabriel a shot." The other half is unwavering. Skip the middleman. Play Shedeur now. Every passing week, every Flacco turnover, every delay in unleashing Sanders, it all pours gasoline on the fire. And Stefanski, whether he admits it or not, is sitting atop a ticking time bomb. Meanwhile, Flacco himself shrugs it all off. After Baltimore, he brushed aside questions about the bench. I can't worry about that. It's not on my mind. I just play my game. But Cleveland fans don't care about calm veteran cliches. They don't care that Flacco once won a Super Bowl. They don't care that he's been there before. They care about now. And right now, they see a 40-year-old with cement in his cleats, shaky decision-making, and no spark to ignite an offense. They've seen this film before, and they know how it ends. So where does this all lead? The reality is simple. Cleveland is barreling toward another quarterback controversy that will define its season. If Flacco loses again, the outcry won't just be noise. It will be deafening. Gabriel may get his shot first, but when he stumbles, as most rookies do, the calls for Shedeur will be inescapable. And that's when the real drama begins. Because when Shedeur finally steps onto the field, it won't just be about throws and touchdowns. It will be about hype, legacy, and expectation. If he thrives, Cleveland will crown him the savior. If he falters, the critics will shred him faster than you can say prime time. But maybe that's exactly what makes this saga so gripping. It's not just about football. It's about faith. Faith that Shedeur can be different. Faith that after decades of misery, the Browns might finally find their guy. And if you think the fans are impatient now, just wait. By the London game, this franchise could be at civil war. Veterans versus rookies. Flacco loyalists versus Sanders believers. Stefanski's caution versus a city's desperation. The Browns may have planned for Shedeur to sit and learn this year. But Cleveland doesn't wait. Cleveland never waits. They demand salvation, and they demand it now. 2 games into the season, the Browns are already drowning in chaos. Flacco is on borrowed time. Gabriel is a placeholder. And Shedeur Sanders, the rookie, the name, the hope, is the storm building on the horizon. Fans want him. Talk radio begs for him. Social media screams for him. And deep down, even Stefanski knows. It's not if, it's when. Cleveland has always been a city searching for a quarterback. And maybe, just maybe, the answer has been standing on the sideline all along, helmet in hand, waiting for destiny. The Shedeur Sanders controversy isn't coming. It's already here. Dillon Gabriel didn't just answer a question. He struck a match. 6 words detonated in a post-game interview, and the shockwaves rippled across college football. We're competitors, not entertainers. In that instant, Gabriel wasn't just another quarterback rattling off cliché lines. He was a headline, a controversy, a soundbite that might define his entire career, because everyone watching understood exactly who those words were aimed at. Even without a name, this wasn't philosophy. This was a shot fired. If you want the real story, the raw drama, the chaos you won't see on highlight reels, stick around. Because the Browns' quarterback saga is just getting started. And trust me, you'll want to be subscribed. Make no mistake, Gabriel's words were aimed straight at Shedeur Sanders. The Rolex flashes, the NIL millions, the sideline swagger, the entire persona that's made Shedeur one of the most polarizing athletes in the nation. And the second Gabriel's words hit the airwaves, the reaction was nuclear. Fans erupted. Analysts froze. Social media went into overdrive. Gabriel hadn't just spoken, he had declared war on the very culture Shedeur represents. Sanders' flash, swagger, highlight reels, and headlines. He's not just winning games, he's owning the moment. Trending every Saturday, endorsements chasing him, fans idolizing him, NFL legacy trailing behind his last name, and Dillon Gabriel thought he could draw a line. Competitor versus entertainer. Only problem? That line snapped back and cut him instead. Because if you're going to cast yourself as the moral compass of college football, you'd better be spotless. You'd better have receipts. You'd better have dominance in your back pocket. And Gabriel didn't. What he had was respectable stats. Solid, not spectacular. Decent, not devastating. Which was fine, until he positioned himself against the sport's brightest star. And just like that, Gabriel became that guy. The guy who tried to humble Shedeur. The guy who punched upward and missed. The guy who accidentally rallied an entire fan base, and the internet, against himself in real time. The fallout wasn't subtle. Social media treated it like game day. Fans pulled stats. They spliced together Sanders' highlights with Gabriel's quote, "Really? This is who you're calling out?" And then came the memes. Because if there's one thing the internet loves, it's a one-sided beef where one man stays silent and the other gets roasted alive. Gabriel trended, but not for touchdowns. Meanwhile, Shedeur didn't flinch. No tweets, no rebuttals, no subliminal posts. Just silence, cool, collected, calculated. And that silence wasn't passive. It was tactical. PR judo. By doing nothing, Shedeur looked 10 times more powerful than any comeback could have made him. Because when someone takes a swing and you don't even blink, that's the ultimate clapback. This isn't Shedeur's first time being doubted. It won't be his last, but this time he didn't even engage. He let Gabriel be the loud one, the petty one, the rattled one. Meanwhile, Shedeur was stacking reps at practice, letting the world spin in his orbit. And that's the real lesson. This wasn't just athlete versus athlete. It was a parable about sports in 2025. Today, being great on the field isn't enough. You've got to be media savvy, brand conscious, self-disciplined, digitally fluent. Every mic is live. Every word is immortalized. Every misstep is a viral moment waiting to explode. Gabriel forgot that. He thought the era was still let your play do the talking. But in this era, the talking is part of the play. One comment can overshadow a season. One soundbite can outweigh your stats. One ego slip can torch a reputation you've spent years building. And now, Gabriel isn't just facing backlash. Rumors swirl that he could even face suspension. Not for breaking a rule, but for becoming a distraction. Meanwhile, Shedeur's reputation, stronger than ever. He said nothing, yet the narrative bent toward him like gravity. Scouts noticed. Coaches noticed. NFL front offices noticed. They're asking, can this guy lead? Can he handle pressure without taking cheap shots? Gabriel's words didn't just create headlines. They created doubt. Sure, redemption is always for sale. A heartfelt apology, a bounce-back season, a mature media tour. He can claw his way back. But the internet doesn't delete. This clip has a half-life longer than his eligibility. Because this isn't just old school versus new school. It's grind in silence versus own the spotlight. And when the public chose sides, they didn't choose the loud one. They chose the one who stayed unbothered, locked in, and winning. The irony? Gabriel tried to strip Shedeur of his entertainer aura, and became the entertainment himself. Dillon Gabriel, quarterback turned viral punchline. So, what's the takeaway? If you're an athlete, guard the mic. Respect the moment. Don't confuse bitterness with boldness. Don't mistake envy for honesty. And never ever come for someone whose play and persona are bulletproof. If you're a fan, grab your popcorn. Because this saga has everything: ego, silence, media frenzy, fan tribalism, and the hard truth that in today's game, talent isn't enough. You need tact. Gabriel learned that the hard way. So as rumors swirl and Shedeur keeps ascending, remember this: in the digital age, your words don't just echo, they amplify. And if you're not careful, they define you. Now it's your turn. Did Gabriel cross the line? Was it just a throwaway comment that spiraled out of control? Or a fundamental misunderstanding of the era he's playing in? And what do you make of Shedeur's icy silence? Drop your take below. Never forget this: don't say something you'll regret once the clip goes viral. And if you love these kinds of breakdowns, where sports collides with drama, ego collides with the internet, and athletes get too cozy with a live mic, hit that subscribe button. Because in today's game, the biggest plays don't always unfold on the field. Sometimes, the fireworks ignite at the podium. Dillon Gabriel's infamous line, "We're competitors, not entertainers," has now been etched into the collective memory of sports culture. It's been clipped, captioned, parodied, and remixed into 1,000 formats. TikTok skits, podcast dissections, analysts poring over his tone and body language like it was a presidential debate. And through it all, Shedeur Sanders hasn't said a single word. Not one. Not even a sarcastic eyebrow raise on camera. He's managed to control the entire narrative by doing nothing at all. A masterclass in restraint so effective it deserves its own chapter in the playbook. But let's zoom out, because this saga isn't just about one quarterback slipping up. It's about misreading the room in an era of non-stop 24/7 content. Gabriel didn't just jab at a rival, he hurled a rock at the glass mansion of modern sports culture. And now he's standing in the rubble, reputation bleeding as the shards fall around him. And here's the truth: this was never just about Shedeur. Gabriel's shot landed like a slap at every athlete who's dared to build a brand, post a fit check, flash some personality, or God forbid, monetize their image while dominating their sport. The hidden message behind his words, whether he meant it or not, was clear. If you're entertaining, you're not serious. But here's the kicker: sports are entertainment. They always have been. They always will be. That's the entire reason the cameras are even pointed your way, Dillon. You don't get to dismiss the very stage that gave you the microphone. And when you frame athletes like Shedeur as less authentic because they know how to own that stage, you're not proving integrity. You're broadcasting insecurity. You're essentially saying, I see someone doing it bigger, louder, better, and I hate it. And this is where Gabriel's image begins to unravel. Want to be a competitor? Then compete. Don't talk down. Don't distract. Don't punch up with coded shots and hope nobody catches it, because we caught it, and we're still replaying it. Now think locker room. You believe Gabriel's teammates want to field questions about his ego instead of game prep. You think coaches enjoy wading through media landmines because one of their QBs turned into a viral backlash machine. That's not team culture. That's damage control. And Gabriel's name is now attached to it. Forget highlight reels. Forget stats. Forget film. The only real playing is that quote. And when NFL scouts study it, they're not just judging mechanics anymore. They're asking deeper questions. Does this guy have the emotional intelligence to command a locker room? Can he withstand pressure without taking cheap swipes? Is he mature enough to understand the gravity of his words? Because being a quarterback isn't just about arm talent. It's about optics, leadership, composure. And Gabriel, in trying to manufacture a moment, showed none of it. Meanwhile, Shedeur keeps racking up wins. On the field and off. He's playing chess, not checkers. He's moving like a man who understands that the real game isn't just X's and O's. It's timing, tone, narrative control. And right now, his control is airtight. No engagement, no spiral, no fake feud. Why would he? He's already won. And that's what cuts the deepest. Gabriel tried to drag Shedeur down to his level. Sanders didn't even acknowledge the attempt. He just walked past the line, calm, graceful, untouched. That's the difference between chasing a moment and embodying a movement. Gabriel reached for relevance. Shedeur already is the moment. While one quarterback is Googling crisis management for athletes, the other is filming endorsement deals in designer shades. Unfazed. Thank you guys. See you next video.